Hello, I'm Lucy Owen.
And I'm Rodri Owen, and we've got loads of great stories for you tonight.
Not one, but two examples of driving schools which didn't deliver on their promises. Why didn't Brandon or Bruce get the tuition they expected?
The 5-minute medic's tackling one of our most common diseases, diabetes. Will the people of Newport know how to care for someone with a sugar low?
And in Abertillery this week, giving up smoking is the challenge awaiting Anthony and Amanda. They've both been smoking for years, so it's going to be difficult. First though, passing your driving test is a milestone for most of us. But how can you tell if your driving instructor is honest and properly qualified? Rachel's been to meet a family who found out the hard way.
Brandon Thorpe from Aberbargoed is an active teenager. He plays rugby and has represented Wales and Great Britain at karate. In the past, he's relied on lifts from mum and dad to get to training. So, in October 2008, when he turned 17, he was eager to learn to drive and get about on his own.
Ready? Well, I train 7 days a week, so with that, there's quite a lot of training, so take a lot of pressure off my father. Driving would have helped a lot if I passed. It's very enthusiastic to learn.
So Brandon's father Michael decided to book some lessons as a birthday present. He found a company called SurePass and signed Brandon up for 30 hours tuition at a cost of £590.
I was to pay a £125 deposit there and then, so I paid that with a debit card. And she told me that I could pay the balance to the driving instructor on the night.
SurePass Limited was acting as an agent providing pupil referrals to self-employed instructors. Mr Thorpe was put in touch with a local instructor, Gareth Arnold, who he believed was a contractor of the company. He soon booked Brandon's first lesson.
He seemed like a tidy guy. We met him outside, I had a little chat to him. Brandon had a little chat to him. And I asked him, who do I make the cheque payable to, SurePass or himself? And he told me to make the cheque payable to himself.
Took me over the industrial estate, just driving around, seemed alright, there's nothing wrong with him. He knew what he was on about, he knew what he was doing, he knew where he was taking me, so yeah, everything seemed fine.
But once the money was handed over, Gareth Arnold became a lot less keen to teach Brandon to drive. He cancelled lessons and refused to book any more until Brandon had passed his theory test. So Brandon swatted up on his highway code. Then, with his theory test under his belt, he tried to book more lessons with Gareth Arnold.
He just wouldn't get in touch back with me, I was texting him, phoning him, nothing.
But after weeks of ringing, neither Brandon nor his dad could track him down. It seemed Gareth Arnold had disappeared, owing Brandon another 27 hours of lessons.
An angry Michael contacted SurePass, the company he booked the lessons with. He told them what had happened and demanded another instructor, or his money back.
SurePass told Mr Thorpe that because he'd paid the balance directly to Mr Arnold, it was a personal arrangement and they were no longer responsible. And so they were unable to refund the money for the outstanding lessons.
Felt like my life was on hold, really. I couldn't do anything, didn't have no money, got my friends, training was hard, my parents had to take me. They've already paid out 600 quid and don't know what else to do,
So, who exactly is Gareth Arnold and where is he? We tried calling his number, but it no longer works. We searched lists of driving instructors and small ads, but there was no trace of the elusive driving instructor.
We contacted the Driving Standards Agency, the body that regulates driving instructors, about Gareth Arnold. They told us that his registration as a trainee driving instructor expired in August 2008.
But it's illegal for anybody to charge for driving lessons unless they are registered with the Driving Standards Agency.
This means that when Brandon was receiving lessons in November 2008, Gareth Arnold was not entitled to give instruction for payment. So how did you feel when we broke the news that Gareth Arnold wasn't even licensed to be giving lessons when Brandon went out with him?
For SurePass to put Brandon, a 17-year-old lad, in that position, then I was mortified, and more so knowing that I had put him in that position as well.
So if you're searching for a driving instructor, how can you be sure that they are genuine? Neil Evans represents the Driving Instructor Association in Wales.
So what questions should you be asking?
The simple questions, there's two badges. There's a green badge, which is the approved driving instructor.
Yeah.
And then also then you have the pink badge, which is a provisional driving instructor. Clear, simple things to look for on the badge is a reference number and also the date on the badge.
And so could you take that number and perhaps ring the DSA and ask about the instructor?
Absolutely, just ring the DSA just to clarify that this number is valid to that individual.
Determined to get behind the wheel, Brandon has now paid for more lessons with a different company. He's now passed his test and is enjoying his newfound independence.
Just freedom. I could go places, I could go training. My parents had a lot of weight off their shoulders, a lot of time to themselves, and it's made everything better, changed my life and my parents.
So Brandon is finally on the road, which is absolutely brilliant, isn't it? But now what about Shaw Pass, the company that gave Gareth Arnold the franchise? What have they had to say about all this?
Well, they say they made a really serious error in giving out Gareth Arnold's details. They want to issue the family an unreserved apology, and really good news, they're going to get a full refund of almost £600.
That is an absolutely fantastic result. I'm sure the Thorpes are going to be really pleased with that. But how have Shaw Pass explained this?
Well, they say it's likely that his details were still showing on their system because they were trying to get hold of him themselves quite urgently.
So why were they trying to get hold of him?
Well, we understand that there were some financial difficulties between Gareth Arnold and Shaw Pass, and Shaw Pass had actually gone so far as to getting back the driving school car they'd been leasing from him. So there were obviously problems between the two parties.
Later on, you're going to be finding out that actually learning to become a driving instructor can be equally as difficult.
Yet more later in the programme.
Great, Rachel, thanks.